Good morning guys, my name's David from KPB. Today I'm going to be going through some of the mistakes that I've made and other people I see make when they're looking for a property to purchase for investment, whether that's a buy-to-let, a HMO. I believe these mistakes will apply to any kind of investment that you're looking to do associated with property. So I'm going to break it down into 8 mistakes. These are mistakes that I've made myself, and these are mistakes I've seen other people make whilst being in the UK and whilst I was involved in real estate in Dubai as well. So there's quite a lot of experience here that I can bring to the table just to give you a bit of advice, and hopefully you don't make the same mistakes going along the line. So the first mistake is too good to be true. This can be a very, very easy mistake to get trapped into and involved in, because if you see a property that is cheaper than it should be, there's 9 times out of 10 there's going to be a reason why it's cheap. That could be for several reasons, which I'll go into a little bit more. You'll get this in a little voice in your head which will question you and say, why is it so cheap? Or you might get a little voice in your head saying, this is an amazing deal, we need to run at it. Whichever one of these reactions you have, you need to really look at that particular deal and question, why is it such a good deal? Always question, why is it a good deal? Have a pessimistic mind to a certain degree and challenge every particular deal that you see online. If it's £30,000 below market price and it's been on for 3 weeks and you're looking to purchase that property, I can guarantee you 99% there's something wrong with it, or it would have been snapped up. If the renovation is going to be too cheap, you're probably not going to be getting good quality. Now, just apply this to every aspect when you are looking to purchase a property. Question, why is it so good? Question, why is it so cheap? And have a slightly pessimistic mind in this criteria. The second mistake I see people make, and second mistake I've made myself, is why you're buying the house. You've got to know why you're buying it. You can't just look at buying a property for investment and not know why. You need to know if you're buying it on a buy-to-let basis. You need to know if you're buying it for HMO. You need to know if you're going to buy it to rent out on Airbnb. This is critical for you to actually understand, because if you're purchasing a property and then you change your mind and you then want to change it to a HMO and it doesn't quite fit that criteria, you would have wasted a lot of money. So know whether you're going to do a HMO, a buy-to-let or an Airbnb before you start searching the property. Also know your figures. You need to know what the cost is going to be for the refurb. You need to know what the purchase price bracket you're going to be looking at. For example, 70 to 80, or maybe 300 to 400. You need to know what your criteria is. You need to also know the rental yield that you're targeting. If you're going for a buy-to-let, I look at 8%. If you're going for a HMO, look at 10 to 12%. For example, if you're looking at Airbnb, look at maybe 15 to 20%. Understand these numbers before you go for that particular property. Thirdly, I can vouch for this particular mistake because I've made this in the past and it's waiting for the perfect deal. A lot of people will advise you, okay, I'm waiting for the best deal. I'm looking for an investment and I'm waiting for the perfect deal, the best deal on the market. It just doesn't exist. There's no such thing as the best deal. There's no such thing as the perfect deal. You just send yourself on a wild goose chase looking for something that you're never going to find. There's no golden egg in real estate. What you do have to do is, as I said, which is in the second mistake, set your goals and align your goals with the property purchase that you're looking to make. Got to understand why you're buying it. So if you want to buy this property for investment, work out your rental yields, okay? And then when you're looking at purchasing the property, you have a clear idea, this is the right investment to go for because it meets my goal, it meets my 8%. So just understand there is no perfect deal. You just have to make sure that you can recognize what a good deal is, and if it matches your goals, go for it. I dealt with a lot of people when I was living in Dubai in real estate, and they spent 6, 7, 8 months going around the market, wasting everyone's time, looking at 500 properties over a year's period. And they said the same thing, I'm waiting for the perfect deal, market's coming down, I'm waiting for the bottom price. You can never time the market, you can never reach the bottom of the market, you'll never ever get there. real estate will normally go up. Whether it goes up or down today or tomorrow short term, long term it will go up. And it won't go down overnight generally, unless there's another crash, which is very unlikely to happen. But generally you can buy a property and it will go up and down, but it's not going to go up and down overnight unless you're looking in Dubai, which is a completely different topic. We won't go into that today. Fourth mistake, be patient. When you're going for a property, you've got to be patient on this purchase for investment. I can understand if you want to live in the property and it's for end use and it's going to be your family home, you may want to be in a rush, you may get a little bit emotional. That's the worst thing that you can do, because you might end up buying your family home and it's the wrong one. For an investment, it's exactly the same. When you're looking at purchasing an investment, you've got to understand the numbers have to stack up. It has to be the right timing. You must have had enough time to do your due diligence. You must have had enough time to do your research on the area, to make the right offer. Keep your cool when there are other bids on the table, so you're not going to be getting into a bidding war. This is all coming down to being patient. So you've got to have patience when you're dealing with these investment deals and not be in a rush to buy the first deal that comes on. Fact of the matter is, if you miss a deal that meets your criteria and is the right investment for you and you feel it's the best, there'll always be another one around the corner. We've missed out on a lot of investment deals and we've found better ones, we've found similar ones. We've always ended up finding another investment deal next week. A lot of people panic and think there's not going to be any deals left next week. There's always someone's circumstance going to change. Whatever that circumstance might be, people's circumstances change all the time. And with investments, you can take advantage of these circumstances and they're never ending. So don't be afraid if you miss out on something. Fifth mistake I'm going to explain is emotional attachment. I found, not really myself, but I found a lot of people get attached to the investment search that they're looking at, and they'll have an emotional voice in their ears saying, maybe you should be looking at a bigger kitchen, maybe you should be looking at a bigger garden, we can't park 3 cars over here, third bedroom's a little bit too small. Fact is, you're not buying this house to live in, and the tenant who's looking at this property to potentially rent in a month or 2 months' time has a completely different requirement to you. They may not want a big kitchen. They may not want an open plan kitchen. They may want a closed kitchen. They may want a 2-bedroom with a 3rd bedroom that they're going to use as a study. They may not have a car, so they may not need parking. They may want a large garden. They may not want a large garden. They may not want the maintenance of a garden. They may want the maintenance of the garden. Now, these are several different variations of what a tenant's requirement will be. So again, go back to what your target is for the investment: price, area, do your due diligence, and the rental yield, and then purchase the property. Disregard your emotional requirements for the house, otherwise you're never going to find the right property, because it's going to be someone else paying that rent. And when you're looking to liquidate and take your money out of the property, it's going to be someone else purchasing the property for different requirements. So you really have to try hard to ignore what the little voice inside your head is telling you about the garden or about the kitchen size, or maybe the 3rd bedroom's a little bit too small, whatever it might be. Or maybe you don't like the tree outside the front garden. Maybe whatever these reasons will be, there'll always be something. Okay, so really try your best to avoid that. The 6th mistake that I see people do is the way they buy the house. They may just jump into the real estate market and say, okay, I've got my deposit, whether that's 25% or 10%, whatever their deposit is. They jump in and they purchase the property in their personal name. And then they don't look at the tax recourse. You're going to have to pay tax on the income. And as per new tax legislation, Section 8, which a lot of investors will be aware, this basically means you cannot offset your expenses from the mortgage, which you could do, against the income. So if your rent is going to be, say, £600 a month, you have to pay tax on the full £600 every month. Now, If you earn less than £50,000 a year and more than £12,000 a year, you'll be taxed 20% on this. If you earn more than £50,000 a year, you're going to be taxed 40% on the full £600. If your mortgage interest only or mortgage repayment is £150 or £400, you can't offset that against the income. You're going to have to pay on the full £600. So what you can do is you can approach an accountant and you can ask them their advice on the best way to set up yourself when you're purchasing the property. I would advise doing it with a limited company. Definitely if you're on the higher income threshold above £50,000, I'd advise you set up a limited company. When you set up the limited company and you get a buy-to-let mortgage, interest rates will be, instead of 1.7 to 2%, they'll be around 3%, so slightly higher. You'll also only pay 19% corporation tax, and you can offset the mortgage payments from the income generated. So you can claim the expenses and offset it against the income that you're getting. So you're going to be paying not 19% on the full 600, you'll be paying 19% on 600 less the mortgage payments, whether that's interest only or the repayments. You can also get a little bit creative with this by speaking to your accountant or using common sense to understand what expenses you can associate with that particular company that is purchasing properties. There might be fuel, maybe you'll need an office space, maybe you'll be going through tolls, maybe you'll need to have work lunches. You decide however you want to claim these expenses, but it's up to you. So I really would just take the time to understand, is it best to set it up as a limited company? Maybe it's better to set it up in my name. Maybe it's best to set it up in my spouse's name because she's got a lower income. So just plan this out before you purchase the property, because then you'll have to pay stamp duty again if you do want to sell it to your company or sell it to your wife or do something with it. Again, later down the line. Now, seventh mistake. Seventh mistake is something that's very easy to make. It is not costing up your refurbs correctly. You can sometimes get a little bit carried away when you're costing up the refurbs in whatever house it's going to be. Maybe you'll cost too much. Maybe you'll cost too little. Maybe you don't get the right professional advice when you're going around these houses. If you can, I would always take a video if you can't bring a builder to the viewing with you, because I've found if you try to take a builder around for the viewings, you probably miss out on the deal if it's that good. So take a video of the actual property that you're going to view, show it to a builder, help him to assist you in giving the right quotation by allowing him to have any information that he requires. That way you're not going to be under budgeting on your refurb and you're not going to be over budgeting. So when you're making the offer, you can make an offer at the optimum amount. Number 8. Now, this is going to be the last mistake that I've seen people make. I made it myself. I'm not an admin guy, to be very honest with you, so I've had to really work on this just to make sure I'm not going to be costing myself money in the future or costing other investors money in the future. And it's tracking your expenses. When you do a refurb on a house, you should always track what that particular refurb costs. What did the carpets cost on this house? What did the boiler cost? What did the electrical consumer unit cost? What did the kitchen cost? The bathroom cost? Noting down what all these costs are with the one contractor you use or another contractor you use will make your job very easy when you're going into the next property and you're doing up the price quotation. You'll also know about anything hidden that you didn't realise. There was a gas leak. So make sure contingency plan, which is 10% above your refurb, that's my recommendation, a lot easier. So always recall and record the expenses that you're going to be making when you're doing a refurb, because 9 times out of 10 you're going to have to come back to these refurb costs, and it's really good if you've got them noted down. That's all for today. There are a lot more mistakes that you can make within real estate, but I think these are the main ones. So if you're new and you're just about to get into investing and you come across these things, maybe go over the video again. If you need any other help, feel free to leave me a comment and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks guys, have a good day.